Namaste, good morning, good afternoon, sorry. Good afternoon everyone. Welcome to Crack Grade B. So today's session is another session in our data series. Okay. So we've already covered agriculture data. In this lecture, we will cover the data with respect to basic animal husbandry. The data with respect to agriculture as well as allied activities that includes animal husbandry is very much important for NABARD Grade A. And the importance of these two subjects cannot be overstated because as I've already shown you in the previous session that direct questions do come in the examination with respect to the data that we will cover in this session. Okay, so let's start with our today's session. This session won't be very much longer because in this lecture we will cover the most important statistics with respect to basic animal husbandry, in which we will cover statistics with regarding to milk, wool, meat as well as eggs. Okay, so these four commodities we will discuss, and what is the major in-depth data with respect to these commodities we will discuss. Okay. So first of all, before going into the statistics of all four commodities, let's understand how do the survey actually took place. Okay. So this was conducted by Department of Animal Husbandry and Dairy. Okay. So there is an Animal Husbandry Statistics division within this department that actually conducted the survey and came out and published various statistics of this year. Okay, and through two schemes, which is livestock census as well as integrated sample survey, they have actually compiled as well as published data of animal husbandry. Okay, so remember these two things: livestock census, integrated sample survey, and this statistics division under Department of Animal Husbandry and Dairy. Okay, so this is important. After that, what is important? The timeline within which the data has been taken place. So from 1st March 2021 till 20th February 2022, the data has been collected and has been compiled and published. Okay, so remember these key dates. These can come directly in the examination. Okay, and this integrated sample survey has took and has provided the estimates of four major livestock products, and these include milk, egg, meat and wool. All four commodities that we were just discussing. Okay. So I hope you got the details about who actually publishes this data, from which date it actually collected and compiled the data, and for what commodities it has compiled the data. These three things must be on your tip. Okay. So to know the extent upon which, so that many villages they have covered to compile this animal husbandry statistics data. Okay. So have a brief knowledge about number of villages also. So 96,000 villages the data have been taken from. Okay, so let's start with our first commodity, and before starting with our first commodity, first let's discuss about the technical committee of direction. So this committee, it's like a board of directors for the statisticians. Okay, so under the leadership of this committee, this statistics have been published, and who is the chairperson of this technical committee of direction is the chairmanship of Animal Husbandry Commissioner. Okay, so now you know the department, now you know the technical committee of direction was headed by Animal Husbandry Commissioner, and the latest meeting of this committee happened in Bengaluru. Okay, so majorly 5 statistics came out from this 2 pages, and that is the only thing that you need to learn from this document. Okay, so just keep a reminder of what all important statistics that we are discussing. So while revising, keep just focus on that only. Okay, that will help you in the examination and also reduce your time for revision. So let's move on to the first commodity, which is milk. India is very much the top producing country, as you can see from the rank itself. According to FAO, India ranked first in the world in terms of milk production. Okay, so as you can see, 221.06 million tons have been produced in 2022. Okay, and this is obviously an increase from previous year, which is 209.96 million. Remember this figure in the class itself. While discussing about another commodity, I will keep asking you this question. So remember this. So milk production, India is number one. How much production it produced today in this year? 221.06 million tons. Okay. Similarly, as you can see from the growth rate itself, from 209 to 226, 5.29% is there. Okay, and daily per capita availability of milk is 444 grams per day, and it is higher than 333 gram per day in 2015-2016. Okay, so these four data are very much important. India's rank, India's current production, the growth rate from previous year, as well as daily per capita availability. Okay, so I hope you remember these four key data. Next important data is average yield per animal per day. So yield is production. Okay, so we had discussed about production per day, which came out to be 444 gram per day. Okay, so now we are talking about average yield per animal per day. For exotic crossbred, it is 8.52 kg per day. Okay, and for indigenous nondescript, it is 3.36 kg per day. So importance of these two statistics you will get when we will discuss about breed wise milk production happened in 2022. Okay, so let's first see species wise milk contribution that we were discussing just now. So this is the graph. This is a pie chart which explains which cattle species or which buffalo species contributed to the most for milk production of our country. So as you can see, this portion is the biggest one. So buffalo indigenous contributed the highest in terms of milk production, that is 31.58%. Okay, and then cow crossbred 29.91%. So whenever you're learning about some rankings, learn the first two categories, because usually IBPS right now is asking about the second top producing or second top contributing breeds. Okay, so buffalo indigenous is the top, cow crossbred is the second one. Rubber coffee data we will include, okay, Nikhil, but this session right now is of animal husbandry. So now that we have already understood species wise milk contribution, let's see what are the top most milk producing states in our country. So as you can see, the first is Rajasthan, contributing 15.05%. Second is Uttar Pradesh, contributing 14.93%. So as you can see, both are actually contributing nearly 15% towards milk contribution. We should remember the order also: Rajasthan, UP, MP. Okay. And the data also says that top 5 most milk producing states together contributes half of the country's total milk production. So that itself tell you that most of the milk production happen in these 5 states. Okay, so Rajasthan, UP, MP, Gujarat and Andhra Pradesh. And this we have already discussed that buffalo is the topmost indigenous one and cow crossbred is the second most species that contributes for milk production. Okay, annual growth rate we have already discussed. This is the national average from previous year to this year. The growth rate is 5.29%. So let's see for each and every state what was the growth rate of milk production. So as you can see from the graph itself, this is the national average. If we draw a line, so you can see these many states are above the national average. So as you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 states are above than national average. Okay, and also you can see more than 6% of growth rate have been registered by 6 states. Okay, and the topmost growth rate has been achieved by Sikkim. Okay, so remember this Sikkim data. Remember also that 6 states, this you can remember very easily, 6 states registered growth rate of more than 6%. Okay, since the numericals or the numbers are same. Okay, and 10 states registered a growth rate more than the national average. Now we move on to the per capita availability of milk. This is the all India per capita availability, that is 444 grams. Okay, the highest is Punjab's 1271 grams, or you can say 1.2 kgs. And from this data also you can see that 10 states have per capita availability of milk more than the all India level. Okay, so from the graphs itself you can remember all these crucial data, and since because this data is not much more and it is about only 4 commodities, you must be learning about all the data that we had discussed just now. Okay, and since the framework for data is similar for other 3 commodities also, so I'll continuously keep on asking about you whatever data that we had discussed just now in the milk commodity. Next we go on to eggs. So the total egg production in the country is 129.60 billion numbers. Okay, and it is a very big jump from 82.93 in 2015-16. So what's the rank of India? It ranks 3rd in the world in terms of egg production, and the egg production from last year, the growth rate is 6.19%. So since all of you are right now here, can anybody tell what is the growth rate in milk production? Then I'll see how many of you are attentive. So entire syllabus of ARD is already covered by Akshay sir. Okay, so as you can see, we are conducting live classes also, so you can see from there. Okay, Deva. Yes, Krishna, right. Anybody else? How much milk production? So milk actually registered a growth rate of 5.29%, and egg shown a growth rate of 6.19%. Okay, so let's move on to the other statistics of egg. We had discussed the total egg production, ranking, the growth rate, and this is per capita availability of eggs, which is 95 eggs per annum. Tell what was the per capita availability of milk production. So Krishna, this is the source of this data is from the report itself, and this report is given in the Ministry of Agriculture's website. Okay. Good, all of you good. Per capita availability of milk is 444 gram per day. Good. Okay, now we move on to the top 5 egg production states. Okay, so the first one is Andhra Pradesh, contributing 20%, then Tamil Nadu, then Telangana. And since I've already told you, at least remember the top 2 states, okay, which is very much important, because if IBPS try to be over smart and ask you the second top producing state, you must always be prepared for that. Okay, so right now tell me top 2 states of milk production, ranking wise. Anybody else? Yes, Krishna, right. First is Rajasthan and then UP. This is top 2 states under milk production. Good. And here the top 2 states are Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. Can anybody tell what was the nearby percentage or the percentage contribution of Rajasthan as well as UP in milk production? Because as you can see from here, Andhra Pradesh contributes 20%, and then there is a big difference of 4% for Tamil Nadu, which is 16.08%. Yes, Kirti, it was around 50%. Good. At least if we have an idea that nearby how much amount of that contribution was there, then we will be much more able to take the correct answer, because since most of the options are already there, and since previously we discussed top 5 milk producing states contributed 53%, okay, and in case of eggs, top 5 egg producing states contribute 64.56%. okay, so remember this data also. Next is production from commercial poultry and backyard poultry. Commercial poultry, you all know, when we do poultry on a large scale using industrial equipments, okay, like a factories, and backyard poultry is nothing but subsistence, or you can say small scale poultry farming, okay, where people do rearing of poultry just for their own consumption, okay. And as you can see from the data itself, 109.93 billion numbers. This is a very huge number that were contributed by commercial poultry, whereas backyard poultry contributed 19.67. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Next is species wise egg contribution. So you can see from this biggest chunk is contributed by improved fowl, 88.67%, and after that desi fowl, okay, 10.29%. So these are the top two important species with respect to egg production. Can anybody tell what top two species were there in case of milk production? Kirti says indigenous buffalo. Yes. What was the second one? Cow crossbreed. Yes. Good. Well done. Good. Only in this manner we will be able to much more easily remember the whole data. Okay. Within this class only you will be much more sorted about the remembrance of this data. Okay. Next is this we've already discussed, improved fowl and then desi fowl. Remember the asymmetrical contribution. Improved fowl contributed 88%. That is a very huge number. Okay. And the next is desi fowl, which is 10.29%. Annual growth rate we had already discussed, 6.19. For milk it was 5.29. Okay. Now we come to state-wise per capita availability of egg. So all India is 95, okay, and the topmost is, since Andhra Pradesh has 501. So which state reported top per capita availability in case of milk? Tell me in the comments. Kirti is right, since we are talking about per capita availability. Okay. Yes. And can anybody tell how many states reported growth rate of more than 6% in case of milk? Yes, good. 6. Okay. And in this case also, as you can see from the data itself, that how many states reported more than all India per capita availability? 3, 3 and 9, total 9 states. Okay. So in case of eggs, total 9 states reported per capita availability of more than all India, but in case of milk it was 10 states. Okay. Now let's go to the next commodity, which is meat. Okay, we have covered milk, we have covered eggs, now we will cover meat also. And similarly, I will keep on asking you the questions about egg also, so that we get very much sure about remembering these data. So total meat production in the country is 9.29 million tons. Okay. The rank of India is 8th in the world. Meat production has increased by 5.62%. Okay. And the contribution from poultry is 4.78 million tons, which is 51.44% of the total meat production. Okay. So can anybody tell what was the total egg production this year? Also tell me the growth rate of egg production. Yes, Kirti is right. And growth rate is also right. Yes. And what about the rank? What was the rank in case of egg? Yes. Third rank was there. Okay. Good. All of you are paying attention to the class. All of you will do good in the NABARD exam. Well done. So now we come to the top 5 meat producing states. So Maharashtra is at the top, then UP, and then West Bengal. Okay. The contribution is 12.25%, then 12.14%, 11.63%. And just like just in egg as well as milk production, these top 5 states also contributes more than 50%. In meat case, 57.86%. In egg case, how much was there? Also, in milk case, how much was the contribution of top 5 producing states? Do tell me in the comments. Yes, 53 in milk, 65 in egg. Good. And what was the top 2 producing states in case of egg? Good. Both of you good. Well done. Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. Now we come to the per capita availability of milk. Okay, sorry, meat. So 5.51 kg per annum is the per capita availability of meat in 2015-16, and that has increased to 6.82 kg per annum. Okay, so this is the important data that we need to remember. Also 6.52, which is of previous year. Okay, so per capita availability of meat is 6.82 this year. What was eggs per capita availability? Do tell me in the comments. Good, 95 eggs. Well done. Let's remember what was the unit also. 95 eggs per annum. Good. There were 36 is what? Per capita availability of egg is 95. Yes. Now we come to species wise meat contribution. Okay. So poultry contributed 51.44%, as you can see from the pie chart itself. Okay. And then in second number there is buffalo, 17.49%. And in third is goat, 13.63%. So these top three species are important only. So now also tell me what was the top 2 species that contributed for the most number of eggs. Tell me. Yes, improved fowl at the top and desi fowl at the second. Good. So here poultry is the first, then buffalo, and then goat. Okay. So since the poultry's contribution here is 51.44%, what was the contribution of improved fowl in egg production? Because we discussed that that was a very huge amount of contribution from improved fowl. So tell me the number. Yes, both of you are correct, 88%. And desi fowl contributed 10%. Okay, very good. Now we come to state-wise data with respect to meat production. So state of Jharkhand registered the highest annual growth rate, that is 12.01%. Okay, and total 11 states reported growth rate over than national average. Okay, so tell me how many states reported growth rate over national average in egg case as well as milk case? Yes, Krishna, right. No, Kirti, 6 in milk was having growth rate of more than 6%. Okay, but from national average point of view, which was 5.29% in case of milk, there were 10 states that recorded more than 5.29%. Okay, so I hope this much is clear. There should be no doubt about this. Good, good. Keep on revising this. Okay. So in case of meat, it is 12.01%. Good. Now let's move on to next thing, which is wool. This is our last commodity for this session. Okay. And just like that, this session is complete, and this session will be very much easier to remember also. 33.11 million kgs. This is the wool production of this year. And as you can see from the growth rate also, that the production has actually decreased from 2015-16, where it was 43.60 million kgs. And from the last year, it reported a growth rate of minus 10.3%. Okay, so obviously in other commodities you noticed there were positive growth rate. Remembering this wool data in terms of growth rate is very easy, because you know there is a negative component associated with this growth rate. Okay, so remember this key figure, 33.13 million kgs and minus 10.30%. Okay, and one peculiar data with respect to wool production is Andhra Pradesh as well as Telangana reported zero wool production. Okay, so now let's see what are the top 5 wool producing states. Rajasthan, Jammu and Kashmir and Gujarat, where Rajasthan contributes 45.91%, Jammu Kashmir 23% and Gujarat 6.12%. Okay, so what were the top 2 producing states? In case of meat? Tell me in the comments. Yes, good. And top 2 producing states in egg and milk also. Come on, type those also. माइनस ग्रोथ रेट कैसे होती है? सपोज दिस ईयर यू प्रोड्यूस्ड 100 products, okay, and next year you could only produce 90 products. So if we want to see this in terms of growth rate, then we can say we have produced minus 10 from previous year, okay. So this is minus 10%. Did you get this, Deva, or should I tell you again? Or is there any confusion remaining? Okay, so Rajasthan, Jammu, Gujarat are the states in terms of top 5 wool producing states. Okay, now what about the species wise share of wool production? But before that, let's discuss another metric that we were discussing in case of top 5 states contributing how much percentage of wool production. As you can see, from the perspective of commodities, wool came out on the top. So these top 5 states, Rajasthan, Jammu, Gujarat, Maharashtra as well as Himachal, contributes 84.32%, a very huge number. Okay, so now do one exercise for me. Arrange milk, meat, egg and wool in ranking, where obviously wool will be at the top in terms of percentage of top 5 contributing states. Arrange them. Krishna rightly said wool, egg, meat, milk. Yes. So as we all know, in case of wool it is 84, in case of egg it was 63 something, in case of meat it was 58 and then 53. Okay, now let's reread the numbers. So in case of milk, the contribution is 53. In case of egg, the contribution is 64. In case of meat, the contribution is 57. And lastly, 84. Okay, so this is another strategy through which, if we compare numbers, then remembering those numbers becomes very much easier. So in any statistics that you want to learn from future, okay, so do try to make it as a comparison kind of thing. Good, both of you, good. Now we come to species wise share of wool production. Okay, as you can see from the pie chart itself, the EVs contributed the topmost, which is 63.78%. Then RAM 88.68%, 86%, and then lamb. So ERL you can remember. ERL. EVs, RAM and LAMP. Okay. Let's go to the state-wise data. Jharkhand reported highest annual growth rate among the states, which is 6.75%. Jharkhand was reported also the highest growth rate in terms of which commodity? For which commodity also Jharkhand was reported? Yes, good. Now both of you know the commodity, but do you know what was the growth rate in meat Jharkhand reported? .01. Good, Krishna, you were nearby. Well done. So we were discussing, so Jharkhand here also reported the highest growth rate, which is 6.75%. Okay, Maharashtra registered a growth rate of 2.23, being the second highest, and Madhya Pradesh with 2.03 being the third highest. So this is in terms of growth rate. Okay, and the national overall growth rate was of wool is, just now we have studied, tell me. Yes, minus 10.3%. Okay, now we come to our last thing, which is infrastructure with respect to animal husbandry sector in India. So there are three things: veterinary dispensaries, aid centers and hospitals. So this is in the range of 12 to 30,000. So you can remember 26,000 nearby dispensaries are there, 29,000 aid centers are there, and 12,000 hospitals are there. Okay, so there is nothing but cramming that we can do, but these data are not that much important compared to commodities that we had just discussed. And this is data with respect to artificial insemination. Okay, so as you can see, the number of artificial inseminations performed in the country has decreased actually. Okay, so from 79.12 million, it has decreased to 77.92 million. So just remember the key figure that 77 or 79 million were there and decrease were reported. So obviously 79 to 77 million will be the case in this case. Now very important thing, which is gross value added. So this is in context of first revised estimates of national income for 2020-21. Okay, so this is the data taken from this. Now what you need to do is, you have to remember, for these statistics you have to remember the latest data. Okay, since this data is old, I am just teaching you this because this was reported in the basic animal husbandry statistics. Also you must be aware of in what percentage this data revolves around. Okay, but make sure to remember the key data or the latest data we will also provide you before the exam. Okay, so the GVA contribution or sectoral contribution of livestock sector in agriculture sector is 30.87%, and in total GDP it is 6.17%. Okay, so this is the contribution of livestock sector. And what is the annual growth rate? So as you can see, there are two sectors, livestock sector and then crop sector in the agriculture and allied sector, whole agriculture and allied sector. So livestock sector reported 6.13 growth rate, crop sector reported only 1.9%. So overall, the whole agriculture and allied sector reported only 3.32% growth rate. Okay, and you'll also see the recent or the latest figure will all be near to these figures. Okay, so just have a look about it and then cram the recent data whenever the data comes or whenever we will provide you. Okay. So this is all from my end. If there is any other issue or any other confusion from your end, please do tell me. Otherwise, we'll end this session. I hope you remember at least the most important data of 4 commodities that we discussed. So in terms of ESI, just prepare the notes, do the MCQs, also see the previous year questions, so you at least get to know what type of question usually comes. We will also take live sessions, okay, so you can see that also. Thank you, Krishna, for joining. ESI का वही है, that I have just recently told. Okay, prepare the content given under the course and do the MCQs, and in the course also we will provide descriptive questions also, so you will be much more sorted in terms of descriptive sense. Okay, and at the end the practice is much more important, because current affairs as well as static MCQs do come, and it is more or less related to syllabus only, so that will be covered under CGB course. Okay, so thank you all for joining. We'll do another session next time. So Deva asked about ESI descriptive, how do we prepare the answer writing? So there is one video in the crack grade B in the live session. If you go over there, I have prepared a video of how to write effective answer, how to do effective answer writing, so you can have a look at that video. Okay, where you will get to know how do we approach answer writing in case of ESI, and how do we do the answers of such questions also where we don't know a lot of content. Okay, so you can go over there also. Okay, so thank you all of you. Thank you.